Hey guys, so this is gonna be the first week where we're just gonna start analyzing the DAX and the DOW. Before we start, I just want to explain to you certain parts of it. So I have nothing on the chart except for the chart itself, and this line, so this line right here is basically showing where the current price is at. Here we see how many percentage it went down, the DAX. So Germany 30 is the DAX, yeah? And US 30 is the DOW. And here we basically see how many points it went down and the percentage it went down. So quickly, before we start, every week what I do is draw in my support and resistance, okay? So first we start in the day chart. In the day chart, we would like to see where the major support and resistance areas are, especially not the major like down here or up here, because we are currently moving in this area, right? So we want to understand where are the major support and resistance lines that where the price is going to bounce are in this specific area. So we're going to first of all take our line and draw, for instance, this area for me, yeah, and this area, and then we're going to delete certain areas, okay? So these are, since it's coming down, it's shorting at the moment, the prices are going down. We want to see where we are at and where the resistance at in case it goes up, okay? And where else? So I like to have these tops, yeah, of these, where I believe here is going to become a new support, and this is the resistance area here, and has shown to us several points where it's resisting, okay? So where it's even more resisting is like this area approximately, yeah. Okay, so here we have the major support and resistance that I believe where we will be going. And then this is in the day chart, okay? And then we want to see another area which is around here. This is for me a major resistance area, okay? So I don't believe that this will exceed this week. This part, I don't believe it will go above it this week, okay? So we will see a rather short than a long, because of course today it's already going short, but otherwise I also believe that the market has a good chance of making a correction this time around. So what I'm gonna do now is take these, yeah, and make them blue. So for me, the blue line, the blue thick line, okay, are the support and resistance lines of the day chart. Okay, sorry. So I know specifically when I'm in the trade what those blue lines mean to me. Okay, thick blue lines mean to me, okay, these are the support and resistance lines within the day chart. Okay, so these are for me major support and resistance lines. Then what I like to have, since we're up here, this is rather useless for now, but these two lines right here, yeah, these two areas, I'm gonna make them white because I see a gap right here, and the gap I like to keep them white and thick. Okay, these are major, this is a major gap. See where it just bounces off, and it did bounce off. And then what we like to do is to see if there are any other gaps or dojis or whatever it is, major ones, especially gaps. Yeah, if I don't see any, I'm good. I mean, this one we can take, but this is very close by to this area, so we're not gonna take that. Then I like to go into the 4 hours to identify what else I see or what else I can take with me that is crucial for my support and resistance that I haven't seen in the day chart and I don't believe I have, I mean, this area, we could put it in. This area for me is major in the 4 hours, so we're gonna put it in right here. It's not only this area, it's between this and this. So we're gonna do is take this, make it green. So green is our 4 hours. Yeah, so we understand, okay, what is our 4 hour lineup? Okay, so these two areas are for me the resistance, yeah, in the 4 hours. And then what we do, we go into the 1 hour to see if then any other support or resistance that we might take into consideration, that we want to take, that we see, and onto in this area ish would be one. Yeah, this is one. So in the 1 hour we have this area, and this I'm just gonna mark red. Yeah, red, and this is my, for the moment, a support level for my 1 hour. And then there's one more which I mark right about here. Yeah, so this area. So you have to understand, I know drawing lines is complicated, but you have to understand which line fits to which area of to which charting. Yeah, and then finally we move into the 5 minutes to see what we have. Okay, now we don't have anything to, I mean, this could be, but this is not important as of yet. It's more like this area, what's gonna happen. So we finally drew it in. Now we come to the area of support and resistance. What is very crucial to me is to draw in the openings. Yeah, the openings, the future opening and the normal opening, which is 215. Yeah, this is one, this is 215. So this is one opening, and I like to have that in a yellow, yeah, and dotted or dashed. Yeah, so I understand, okay, this is the futures opening, and now we want the opening of 9 o'clock. This, when it opened right about here, we want to draw that in. And these areas usually, I'm not saying today, but usually what happens is that it comes back, hits and goes down. Yeah, but it doesn't. So, but it's nice to have, and these usually act as a support or resistance area as well, but that I will come in later. Anyways, now we will want to analyze, where is the market gonna go this week? Where do I believe the market is gonna go, or what movement it's gonna make? So now we go again into the day chart to see any patterns. So this is the day chart. This is from December. This is 2014. Yeah, this is September 2014. So you have 7 years, yeah, of data. Yeah, 6 to 7 years of data. That should be enough to draw in your support and resistance within this area. So we have drawn in our support and resistance. Now what we want to look at, what do we want to look at? We want to look at specific patterns, specific areas where we believe, or what we're gonna do, where we believe the market is gonna go. First of all, we want to try a fib. What does it show me? Okay, the fib has shown me it's hitting the 61.8. So this area right from the day chart is the 61.8. Usually by 61.8, it should give you a nice return upwards. But we need to do more analysis on the specific data. You cannot only choose one indicator to show you where the market is going to move or do. You have to use more indicators or more analysis to see if there's going to be a divergence. Okay. So further on, we use our what was the one MACD to see if there's any divergence, if there's any change that we. So you see at this area we have the 61 from the day chart. We saw that this is the 61.8, right? And another thing is it's coming towards our support lines, yeah, from the hour chart. Yeah, it's not major yet, but it has come, it's coming towards our support lines. So what we want to see is that this area, it hasn't shown me anything yet as of yet, but at this area that it will go up a specific, it's in a downtrend, right? So we want to see how far is it gonna go up to come back down and make a lower low. Okay, so at this area, since it's 61.8 plus it's confluencing with one of our support lines, how far will it go back up and come back down? So we're gonna take different levels to analyze that. So we want to take level, you see, a very predominant area is this area. We have a nice resistance area here, plus the 50%, not the 61, but the 50%. But is this enough to tell us where it's gonna go? This we don't know yet, but my job here is to analyze where it will go for this week. Yeah, where do I see the market going? I mean, last week I did analysis for a friend saying it will go down till this area, but exceeded it. It went down even more. But for me, that was my aim, this area. Yeah, this was my aim from last week. However, what we can see here, it did make a lower low completely. Yeah, you see at this support area what it did, it supported, went up, supported, and shot up, right? But it didn't make a higher high, it just kept on moving at this stage. And so what we want to see is that this will go up approximately this area and shoot back down and make a lower low. So since we have three different areas, this is the areas where I believe if it's continuing short, that will go this week. Yeah, so we have different areas, take profit. So if you would short now, these would be the areas, especially this area. Yeah, we go back to the hour chart, the first one, you see what kind of support it's giving. See here, it supported, went up, the support went up, the support went up. So this is a major area where it should become, and if this breaks, we can expect these two areas to come as well. And this entire area, what is this? This is why is a major area? Number one, look at how many times it bounced off this area. This is very important. So this support, when you draw a support or resistance line, you always have to remember how many times it bounces off this specific area. And this just shows us, this was the resistance for this. You see, it resisted here, pushed back down, and then once it exceeds it, bounce off, bounce off, bounce off, bounce off. And this was the major bounce off to go up. And then it exceeds and went down to this area. And here again, start to bounce, bounce, bounce. Okay, so usually we like to have at least 3 bounces. 2 is okay, but 3 is even better. So here we have more than 3 bounce offs. Okay, so that's why it's, for me, generalized as one of the more predominant areas to take a position upwards. But however, in the day chart, we saw a 61.8% Fibonacci, which represents for us, yeah, a major point of divergence. And since we are in the downtrend and made a lower low, we expect the market to go further down. But the thing is, it's not only about it going up that you want to take with, you want to take the bigger move. The bigger move here is very simple, which is downwards. And we don't want to take this little move up here. We want to take this move down to here or even to here. So we need to see where the best moment is to take a position. Okay, so we need to wait, because trading, it's not about always taking the position straight away. It's about waiting. It's very important to wait, and most of the time you're just waiting, you're analyzing, you see where the market is going, and if they give you a certain sign, you take the position with a nice tight stop loss, whilst your take profit is big. Okay, so we haven't finished analyzing yet. We have drawn our support and resistance, we have drawn our openings, yeah, to understand where it will go. These support and resistance usually show you a good resistance or support line. These are the opening, the future opening, and the and the opening of the DAX itself at 9 o'clock. And now you see the momentum has become smaller and smaller and smaller. So here at this point, yeah, we have the 61.8 plus a certain support area here. So we have already two confluences, yeah, two indicators that show us, that indicate that it will most likely have a divergence. But the divergence only happens if this green bar closes above it. Otherwise, we will have a certain sideways movement, and then we have to keep on analyzing. But if this closes above here, above this, we can take a position going upwards to here if you're just scalping or doing whatever. And this area is 187 points. It's also a lot, okay? So, but first it has to close above it. So by a red bar, the opening is up here and the closing is up here. Whilst in the green bar, the opening is here, and wherever it ends is where it ends. Yeah, it hasn't ended yet, this bar, because it's an hour and how many? Well, in 5 minutes it will end. So once this bar, the next bar, closes above here, you can take a position and put your stop loss right below here, whilst you take profit right above here. So if you would take a position, yeah, here your stop loss is approximately here, yeah, that's 60-70 points. You can make it 80, and then your take profit is approximately 180-170 points. So you have more than 2-to-1 ratio right there. Okay, because we believe that when it bounces off this line, yeah, that will come back down again. Okay, further on, the next analysis that we're gonna take is to, you see the MACD, and then we will use the RSI to see if it's overbought or oversold. So here we can see extremely oversold. So this is also a sign that it will make a divergence and go upwards. But the question is always up to where. So there are two different areas that I always like to have. If the whole situation, yeah, ends up coming towards so if it's another question is how do you draw your fib, yeah, the different ways of drawing your Fibonacci, but that's for another day. But if you take, for instance, this area, a very predominant area is also 38.20. Usually when they bounce off this area, you have a great chance that it will continue the direction. So in this case, downwards. By 50, it's also good. By 61, so you always have to look for divergences, number one. And number two, you have to see if it makes sense, the divergence. Okay, it's not only just looking at it, it's also understanding why and how and when to get in. Okay, you see what it's doing now? It's trying to go up. It's going above the opening. Yeah, it's going above the opening of the previous one, and once it goes above it and closes above it, we can take a position. Yeah, we can take a position of going around this area. So you will need your 2-to-1s right here. Anyways, moving on, we go into the half an hour to see, you see this bar and this area, this long wick, yeah, It's also, for me, sometimes, especially in the larger time frames like 30 minutes, 1 hour, also represent a nice support or resistance area. So every time it reaches a certain point, we need to see and be careful at those areas. Okay, but I still believe that this will come up here. If it goes above here, then we can expect this area. But I don't believe that this week we will see it coming back all the way to this area right here. Okay, this is the top area that will happen for this week. Yeah, it will not exceed this area, especially the future opening. And if it does, then I just don't see it going above this area at the moment. Yeah, I don't see it. But let's see, because we have different areas, especially this. You see, this acts as a nice area, especially these two areas act as a nice support, resistance for it to make a divergence. And also here we see oversold, and this is especially as well MACD major below. Yeah, so but it will come up, back up, and then move back down. So I expect it to move up to here, yeah, and then move all the way back down. If yeah, it goes up here, comes all the way down, and doesn't exceed this line or makes a lower low and makes a double bottom, then we can expect it to go back up here and come back down again. Okay, so you have to look at the different scenarios. I wouldn't place a trade right now, yeah, but I do believe that it will close above the previous one. So if you take a 1 hour line, you see exactly when it closes right here, we can take, so we're gonna put a buy sign here, because I believe in 30 seconds it won't go below. Yeah, we'll place a buy sign here just to make a notation and see where we'll go. And your stop loss approximately here. Okay, if you want to take the trade, but I believe it's gonna go up here and then come back down, especially by the US open today. So these three areas are going to be my take profit for today, but only once I realize or I find the perfect position to get in. Okay, we want to make good trades, quality trades. And you see it closed above, so this is now the area where we take a trade going upwards and closing right above here. Yeah, and then most likely if you see a nice divergence, it most likely will go like this, like up here, and then bam, down. Okay, so let's see where it will take us. But I expect the market to go around this area. So this is my Monday analysis for Friday. Yeah. And another thing, what a lot of people like to use are pivot points. Some people just trade according to pivot points. Okay, so if we take in the 30 minutes a pivot point where we are now, so the red line, this line, these are pivot points also representing support and resistance. Yeah, but it has exceeded all of them. You see, bounce off one pivot point, rest on the other, and then bam, go down, and just exceeded. So this pivot point, this right here, can also act as a nice support and resistance, but I don't like to use it too much. I like to use my own lines that I draw. And another one is the moving average that a lot of people like to use. As you can see from here, a nice bounce off, yeah, and down you go. This is the 50, and some people use 20, 25, and the 200. You can always put in, but I usually use the 50 just to look. I don't really use it. I just like to look time to time if it's close by or not. I usually turn it off. I usually like to not distract myself, so I like to use my own strategy, which is just drawing my own support and resistance lines to see where it is and where it will go, and that makes it easier for me to understand what's happening. Okay, and now we make it into 5 minutes. See a nice curve up, and now we look at this MACD and you see this is completely oversold, but the overselling gets less and less and less. You see, that's why it's losing its momentum there. And what another thing I like to use a lot, especially in these small time frames, not too much in the small time frames, but rather in the larger, but you can use it as well in the small one, is to look at divergence itself. That is the MACD. So when things like this happen, when it's oversold, yeah, you want to look as well as here when it's oversold, if it's getting less and less, the momentum of it, yeah, right here. So when we look at situations like this, so it's making a lower low, so we take a line, yeah, I usually don't, I usually measure, but for you guys I make a line. So it's this line, and then one more line is right about here is the next low. So what is happening here? So you have a low here, right, and a low here, but there's a divergence. This is going up while this is going while this is going downwards. Yeah, when things like that happen, you're bound to take a trade just based off this, but it's not enough. It's not enough. A lot of people just use this, but this just gives you a good feeling. Yeah, this gives you a taste. Okay, I understand. Just trying it out, what the MACD can do, the powerfulness of the MACD, and combination with the RSI of overselling, yeah, or overbuying. And then now you can see a divergence going up. The question is always here, how far will it go up, right? So this is one trick that I sometimes use, but I don't like to use it in small time frames because it can confuse you because it moves too fast. I rather use it in, I don't know, 30-minute time frame or 1 hour time frame, and those show you a better reaction for the MACD, and the indication through the MACD is way better in the bigger time frame for me personally. Okay, so we delete this because we don't need it. Yeah, but you can directly see the divergence by yourself with your own eyes, so it's bound to go up. So this area is very, very crucial at the moment, if it's breaking or not, but I believe it will go up further, and then from this point on it will move back down. But you can see as well that here was also a nice support area, a resistance area that it built. Used to be a support, it broke it and made this into the resistance, and bam, you go. Yeah, you could have shorted, made a nice scalp right till here. Okay, the first green one, you're out. Some people just use this first green one, out. That's scalping for a lot of people. Okay, so for me, what I'm just saying at the moment is that we'll make a nice bounce back, yeah, but in the larger time frame, like in the 30 minutes, nice bounce back, yeah, to approximately here. The 38 Fibonacci has to be taken into consideration, and then we see a nice slide. So I expected, no matter what, yeah, I wouldn't have made this trade as I told you before, but we just put a position here, yeah, to see if we are right with this trade, and our stop loss is approximately here. We can also put a line just to make you guys happy. Okay, we make this and a bit thick, less thick, but dotted to see where our stop loss is. Okay, approximately. Okay. So that's where our trade is, yeah, and we expect it up. But our actual trade that we want to take is when it comes to these areas that we shorted. Okay, this is not a real trade, not because it's going down now, but this wouldn't be my trade. My trade would be making when it confluence properly. Okay, when there's my support and resistance, when there is the MACD showing me a sign, when there is a Fibonacci in place. I know it's showing this as well here a bit. Yeah, you have your support and resistance, you have your Fibonacci at 61.8 and MACD in 5 minutes. But 5 minutes for me, MACD is too little. I need it in the 30 minutes. So it's not confluencing yet. So we want to wait for this area. This area for me is major for a nice bounce off. And then we short it all the way to profit 1, 2, 3. Another thing that I like to use, yeah, if in any case, I like to see my Fibonacci extension. Okay. Where is it? You see, right about here. 127.2. This is a major place where you usually take your profit. So my profits will be, this is take profit 1. If it goes below, we have this area extreme, and this, you see, the 200. I'm a bit above 200, but at this will be major. This is what I call, like, you know, this is your silver or gold, this is your diamond or platinum, and this is just major leagues, you know. This is when you take major leagues profit. Okay, this is where I expect it. So I don't expect it to go any further than this area for this week, but I expected that this will come down to these areas by this week. Okay, I wouldn't take a trade now because I don't see anything proper where there's momentum, where there is a sign for me to take a short. But I do truly believe that for this week we will see a lower low and around this area for the DAX. Okay, this is what I see. So now we move to the Dow. Let's get rid of everything. Opa. And what do we do here? So we do the same thing again of going into the day chart, and now we analyze our support and resistance. Okay, so one is here. So there's 1, 2, or is this more major? Yeah, so this is a major one. For me, this can also be, yeah, not so strong, but you have 1, 2, 3, a nice bounce of 4. So it's okay, it's good. We're good. So we are playing in this area. So, and one more top area is this. Yeah. Another top. So what we take, we took blue, right? We do blue for the day. I know at the beginning you do this once a week, yeah, just to always at the beginning of the week, because there are new support and resistance being built, and you can always add when you see major support and resistance being built. So there you have it. And of course here we make 2 lines, yeah, and we make these, what do we say, white. Okay, white. So you practice these, and because we're moving at this area, so that means, do I expect, is it making a lower low? It's already making a lower low, so we expect it to go even more down. And this area right about here, we see major bounce offs, right? Major bounce offs, but we're gonna leave this for the 4-hour chart. See, to have a better view right about the areas. Okay, make it yellow. Okay, now we go into our hourly chart to see if we can find other areas that we believe are crucial. Just this. right about here, and we took was okay. So here is our major movements, support and resistance, where we go and where do I expect it. In the hour, I also expect it to be coming approximately this area. Okay. All right. Okay. So now we have a bit of play room. Yeah. If you want to take a position right about now, yeah, I will take and put my stop loss right about here and actually make a move all the way down. But we don't do that because the analysis is not done yet. Now from the hourly chart, we see where we can go to. What movement has made. We are still in major of the 38.2. So our expectations approximate the blue line. Yeah, we can expect it between the blue and the yellow. This is our take profit if we want to go short in. But the analysis is not done yet, so we need more than that in order to understand. If for instance, if this ends, closes below this, we have a good chance that we'll go further down. Okay, but since we don't, the day is not ending yet, we don't know. This has created a lower low. You see, this was the low and it's playing around that area. So we want this in the, at least in the hour chart. Yeah, take this, you see how, look at this long wick. Yeah, this long wick just represents that there's a lot of support at this area, and look where it shot up. But here, yeah, it's not. All it shows, yeah, there were a lot of buyers, but all the sellers are pushing it down. So this is going to be a bit of a sideways till the opening, and most likely will stay sideways. Yeah, and then most likely by the opening it will go move back down towards, not today, but towards this area. You see what we have here is a little gap as well. So this gap, one represented by the blue, yeah, and one we will draw in a white line just to show us it's a gap. Okay, that's what I like to have. So these are our support and resistance lines. Okay, and now you see where it's bouncing off at this level. Okay, however, we want this to exceed this lower low. Once it does, we can expect it to go further down. I currently, what I believe is gonna happen is, I also expect this to be a short for the entire week. Yeah, we're gonna have maybe 1-2 days of it going up, but at the end is the question: if did we reach the bottom yet? The bottom of this week. Sometimes Mondays, yeah, when it closes, it usually, not always, but it represents the highest point or the lowest point of the entire week. Not always, I think 60% of the time you can see that it will represent, or maybe a bit more, the highest or the lowest point, and usually they move around that area. When it closes very, very high, it's most likely gonna be the highest point for the entire week, and if it comes back up, it bounces off that area. That's what I have noticed, but still it's not very, very secure. It's just something you should have in your mind when trading, to see and to draw in the openings of Monday. So when does the Dow open? Every day. The Dow runs 24/7. So by 24/7, I mean you're gonna go into your 5 minutes and draw the opening at 000. So that will be approximately here. and here. So yeah, so that is your support line, your resistance line, more or less. Okay, so at the end of the day, if you want to be secure and make a trade, you will have a way longer. So if you're swing trading, you will make a way bigger stop loss than comparative to scalping or intraday trading. Okay, of course, everything has to be calculated. Your risk management is very important in that. So when you trade, when I swing trade, I don't trade with huge positions because my stop loss just is way bigger and that will consume way more of my capital. When I scalp or or do day trading, my stop losses are way smaller, but then what I do, I increase the size. Yeah, and when I increase the size, of course my profit is greater, but my stop loss in percentage to cover my loss risk to reward ratio is still the same. The percentage I lose is the same in swing and in day trading. Just in day trading, I have way bigger positions in. Okay, that's why in swing trading, for instance, you take 10 contracts in day trading, you will probably take 50% of that because your stop loss is just way bigger. It all has to be very carefully calculated, especially for your risk management part. Okay, you see at the moment in the 5 minutes, it's just playing around this area. It's not making lower lows, so this is your low, and this has to be exceeded and close below it in order to make sense. But at the moment, we have a huge sideways movement. And what is happening right about here is the opening, right? So we can see it beautifully here. This is the opening. This is the opening. This is the opening. Yeah, you see, this is the opening. Why up here? It's because here it opened and then straight away shot down. Bounced off a nice resistance, support, and all the way up. And closed below here. Usually what happens is also it bounces back, but this is just a futures opening. It makes more sense to understand later on when when it actually opens at 15:30, like in an hour and 10 minutes, to see where it's bouncing. That's why it's all moving sideways, because everyone's not sure yet what it's gonna do, what's gonna happen. And pre-market, it really has dropped quite a bit. It dropped nearly 2% down, yeah, for the Dow. And if we move, so this is the basic analysis for this Friday. The thing is, what I want you to take with you is how to draw support and resistance. Yeah, it's very important to understand how to draw them. Why? It's because at these levels, prices tend to bounce off. So over there, you can take nice scalps. You can make also a divergence trade that it will go up, but always remember your risk to reward ratio. Yeah, and here we're gonna look at the MACD and the RSI as well. So we have here already being very oversold. Yeah, now it's moving that area. Here again, here didn't make lower low anymore, so there's no divergence up here. What about in the 30 minutes? Also not. Whilst the 30 minutes oversold, but this is completely there. So what we expect in order to have a real movement, yeah, is if this makes a lower low, because you can see it already from here, and this is the lower low, and this makes another lower low, whilst the MACD is above. So we have a divergence, especially when it bounces off at these kind of areas. Yeah, then we can take a trade up all the way to here or here. This will be your take profit 1 and 2, and then we can expect a movement down. So what are these areas, right? So you asked me what these areas are. So we're gonna test again with the fib what these areas are, and these areas are 61 and the 50 area. So this is within that. So around this area, and these are my support and resistance area. You see what the 61 is? It's exactly where the other part was. The other part where it supported and moved down. Yeah. So that is where the 61 exactly is at. And then here it pulled straight away up. And now we have a move down. And where is our take profit? This you can use the fib extension. If you're not sure where to take profits, use the fib extension and go to the 127 and 138. This is the area where you should be taking your profits. So this, we have a move. It's approximately where my support and resistance are, where I drew them. You can see that easily. All right. So this is the area where you will take your profit. So, but I like to have a divergence a bit. Yeah, going upwards, coming to these areas, and over here, if I recognize something that there's a divergence that I can take a trade, here's where I'm going to take a trade short, because number one, it has made a lower low, correct? Lower low, lower high, and lower low again. Okay, but we want it. Because in trading, it's not going to go down straight away. Everything is it's going to go down, up, and you have to understand when it goes down and it goes back up, where do you short if the trend is in a downward trend? Yeah, this is the very important part. This is what you have to wait for. Again, trading, a lot of it is about waiting. You can set alarms, you can do whatever it is, but you have to wait. Don't put a trade in, yeah, that an automatic trade. Yeah, what I mean by automatic trade is you can come here and set, yeah, a limit trade where you say, okay, I put 10 units, yeah, and stop loss, and it will trigger at this level. This is not what you want to do. You want to set alarms at, let's say, this area, yeah, so you can look, and slowly when it shows you a sign of taking position, you take the position. Okay, this is what we are waiting for. Now we go back to the DAX. Where is it now? It's still around this area, you see, so we're not in loss or anything. Here it's trying to move further down because it's opening soon in an hour. But we have to wait. It's nice to wait for the opening and see where we'll go. And as I said, my aims for the trading will be around these areas. Okay, my major area is here, and then we have different areas that we want to take profits at. Okay, different areas we want to take profits at. And a very good, if you just look at this drop, yeah, see? If you take this low, yeah, see how it created a low? Okay, but here, if you move in, yeah, the higher point. And these are the trades where you want to take and go to the next, but it's in a downtrend. And this is the divergence trade you want to take. Your risk, if you would take a trade, let's say around here, the risk would be approximately here, but your take profit, beautiful, right about there. Okay, right about there, right about, you see what it does? And especially by these areas, look at the difference. I mean, it's not making a higher high, but look at the divergence right about here. Overbought, duck, down. Okay, you stop loss approximately here if you want to really reach that area, not too tight, because if you got in right about here, yeah. But just this trade, you have to imagine how many points this is already, yeah. I mean, a lot of people dream of just getting these points. This is 500, nearly 600 points. Enough. This is beautiful for 1 week already. So you want to get to this area and really take a beautiful trade for that, yeah. But it's very important to get the trade right, yeah. So as I said, both the DAX and the DOW, I expect it to go further down, yeah, but I need to see it come up first, hit a certain resistance, and bounce back, especially using the Fibonacci. And as I said, we want to hit good targets, and you always have to have different targets set for yourself. Okay, you will set your first take profit, let's say here, yeah, but the take profit, when it comes closer, you move it. Okay, of course you will not always be able to if you're too scared for that. Or what you do at these certain areas, you see what's happening and then you add positions. But this is a bit more advanced. I think just trading with one position should be enough for the time being. Okay, here it was just resting. Let's see what it's gonna do at this area. Okay, if it's gonna close below or above, which is very important. Okay, because in an hour it's opening, and then we want to see if it's if there's a continuation of going down or not. If you want to look at this area quickly, you see what it did. It went all the way down, up, down, and the question is, where do you take your profits from here? Because you don't want to come all the way. These are 600 points moves, yeah, the extremes. So what you do is, first of all, this made a bounce, right? Duck came nearly to the 50 area, but what, this is your support and resistance area. Look how many times, 1, 2, 3 bounces, 4. Yeah, so here is a good area where you should have drawn your support and resistance, yeah, for a bounce back. And how do you take your profit? Very simple. Duck, duck, here. 127, 138. This is where you take your profits. So these are simple trades, but you just have to understand how to use them. And now for the major movement, yeah, what we do. So we have a low here, yeah. So we take a fib, yeah, take all the way. Where is this? 161.8 approximately. It didn't reach. This one reached, yeah, but this is not part of it. If you moved, yeah, it's 168 approximately. Yeah, it's not gonna hit exact. You know, a lot of people are like, yeah, but it didn't hit exactly. Yeah, of course it won't. You have to look at the areas where it is, and then you have to see what's happening in those areas. Look at this wick, yeah, it's nice. And look at after that the momentum, bam, down with you. Okay, you have to understand how to read the charts a bit. And eventually what you do to take profits, go 1, 2, and here we go. So this is the major area you want to take your profits at. And you see, here is where we are at. These are our support and resistance areas, and this is very close by. Okay, especially the 127. That's where your profit is. And where you should have gotten in is here. And how many points is that? Now you have to remember, how many points is that? Your stop loss will be approximately here. Okay, if you would have taken a position right about here, your stop loss would have been around here. Here I wouldn't have put it, I would have put it here because it's a major move. Okay, so now just to look at the point difference. So you take position, let's say you take position here, your stop loss is here. That's 358 points. Now we take, what is your take profit at 127, right? That is 1,600 points. Boy, don't you understand? Look at the risk to reward ratio. Yeah, 1,600 points to 358. What is the difference? It's like 5 times. This is a 5-to-1 ratio, boy. Okay, approximately 5. I'm not gonna go exact now, yeah, but you just have to understand the difference. So this is where the profit taking is. So I'm gonna leave it like that, yeah, and then we're gonna analyze it later on again, so you understand where we're going, if it reaches that area or not. Okay, but however, I expect this now, because the momentum was so crazy, I expect it to go up a bit and then fall back down and take a position, nice position all the way down. So a lot of this trading part, okay, we're gonna get rid of this so you understand, we have it on camera, so it's good. A lot of this all depends how you trade. And here is a major resistance line, yeah, a support line. Sorry, I always get mixed up sometimes. Here's a major support line, which they exceeded. Look at this. Look at this. It came back up. It doesn't exceed anymore. And it's trying to move further down. Let's see if it's going to make a major move down. And this is the profit window. So I expect it to come around this area. And if we want to play in the Champions League and win the fucking World Cup, we want to hit these areas. Okay, that's like 2,000 points till here. Yeah. Okay, so this is where we want it to be at. Okay, so I expect it to fall down, but first it has to make a correction. And when the correction happens and moves to a certain point where I want to take the position, then I'm gonna hit that position up. Okay, but first the correction, because this for me is not a trade yet. Okay, so trading is all about, first of all, making a good analysis. Yeah, you have to understand your major support and resistance lines. You have to understand your Fibonacci. You have to understand confluence. You have to so I always compare it to when you trade, right? So I own restaurants as well. When you, first of all, when you start the week or any given day, you have to make your analysis. So when I go and open my restaurant, it's not like I open up and it's open. I have to open it up, I have to cut the meat, I have to cut the vegetable, I have to prepare the products so I can serve you. So the same thing goes for trading. You have to come to the office and prepare yourself for the market. So you understand at which parts you can take certain positions and trade. Okay? That's why it's important to prepare yourself for any given trade. If you don't prepare yourself, you're not going to be able to understand how to trade. The preparation is all. The trading part is just one click away, right? It's just one click and that's it. But if you prepare yourself well enough, you're going to have very good trades. And where your risk to reward is great, number one. And number two, a way higher target rate. Okay? So you see this part, it doesn't want to move above that because this was a major what? Support. Sorry, this was a major support right about here. Here's as well. It just went right through, but I still want to see a correction. I want to take a short position with a correction. Okay. But anyhow, I expect for the end of the week, first of all, this area has to be hit. It will be hit very soon. But this is the area I want it to go. This is where I expect the Dow to go. Okay? This is where I expect the Dow to go. Let's take a look at that. See? We take position, but this is where we are at. This shouldn't exceed. And this we want to expect the correction right about here. Okay? Why? Because the fib was there. There's a support there. And there was a nice, in the 5 minutes, I mean, that's what I mean. In the 5 minutes, you had divergence with the MACD and the oversold part, but still, we would like to see again a correction in order to really get into position. This was just a place where I put it to see if it will make a correction from here onwards. At the moment, it doesn't look like it, but that's where psychology comes in. Yeah, you have to wait. A lot of it has to be waiting. Sometimes just make a position and take a position, sorry, and wait for it. Sometimes it will go into negatives, but then it will push you into the positives because you're not gonna get in at the spot. Yeah, right at the top, nor right at the bottom. This is, no one does that. No one can, and no one will be able to. Okay. No bots, no nothing. There is no such thing. Okay? You're not gonna get at the cent correct. So you have to wait. This is your risk. Your risk is minimum, while your target is quite good. You have a 2-to-1, and yeah, beautiful. And here again, what you see is it doesn't want to exceed the low point right about here. So what we'll probably see at the opening in an hour is that we'll go up and push back down. Yeah. So yeah, that's my analysis for the Dow and the DAX. It will go further down, and I showed you the areas, and I hope you enjoyed the first session. And on Friday, I will be back and we will revise the whole strategy, if I was correct or not, if my targets hit or not, and I will leave it till then. Okay? Love you guys. Take it easy. Talk to you soon.